If you always seem to be running out of content ideas, today I'm going to share with you how you can take one topic and turn it into 8 different videos. Because if you're like 95% of us in business, coming up with new ways to talk about the same thing can be exhausting. But it's incredibly important at the same time. Welcome to Content Catalyst. I'm your host, Deb Szabo. Now, before we jump into this episode, I want to invite you along to a free video challenge to help you create a sales video for your website, your social media, and your Facebook ads. Now, in this free coaching week, I'm going to walk you through how to create a sales video that converts using nothing more than your phone to film and free editing software. So day one, I'm going to share with you my secret sales script formula. Now, this is the same formula that all the viral video creators use. Now, you might be thinking, but Deb, I can just go over to ChatGPT and ask it to write me a sales video script. Correct. And I did this. However, the answers that it gives you isn't great. And it doesn't hit all the key 8 steps that are involved in creating a sales video script that converts. So day 2, I'm going to share with you how to create the visual elements in your video to hold people's attention and keep them engaged. Day 3 is all about filming your video. And I'm going to share with you not only how you can optimize your phone settings, but also how to make yourself look more professional on camera as well. And day 4, we're going to use a free editing software so you can get your video uploaded to your website, your social media, and use it on your Facebook ads to generate leads and make sales. Now, with Black Friday coming up, you want to start now to get your video content created so you're ready to go and make money. Now, we begin on Tuesday, the 22nd of October. It's free to join. You just need to RSVP for Content Catalyst Video Challenge. Okay, let's jump into the episode. So how do we take one topic and create it into 8 different videos? Well, it's through storytelling. And by giving one topic a completely different approach, you can create a new way to deliver the information to your audience. So here are 8 different approaches you can use to tell your story. Number 1 is mistakes. By starting off with a mistake that people might already be making, makes your video instantly relatable to people because they want to avoid those problems. Okay, so number 2 is tips. Tips are a great way to add valuable content in an educational way to your audience. Number 3 is tutorials. So this is where you show people how to do something. Number 4 is a system. So system might be, here's my lazy way to make video when I've got 10 minutes to spare. Number 5 is storytelling POV. So a storytelling approach to creating video is a really powerful way because you take people on a journey. Now, it could be a story from your perspective that you have had happen to you, or it could actually be from the perspective of a client that you've helped and demonstrated the results that they've had through that transformation. Really powerful way. So the next 3 are more like B-roll clips that you can use, and they're really easy to execute. So number 6 is behind the scenes, and this is where you can just set up your video on a tripod and show what you do. So number 7 is to show something that you do in an entertaining or funny kind of way. And I'm going to give some examples in a moment of what that looks like. Number 8 is inspirational. What we want to do when we create content is we want to tell stories and we want people to aspire to what the transformation is that we can provide them. So inspirational content is great for this. So these are all approaches on how you can tell your story. But what you need is your content categories within your business. Now, your content categories relate back to and are tailored for your business and the problems that you solve with your audience. So if we were creating a content marketing strategy for you, what we would do is we'd look at your core offer, we'd look at your audience's pain points, and first of all, we profile who your ideal audience is. And then I do what's called a vivid story exercise, and that helps us to dial in the messaging of your audience's pain points, their questions, their motivations, and their aspirations. And then we look at the transformation that you provide with the solutions that you have. When we do these exercises, then we actually get into the content categories that relate to your business and your audience. So businesses might have between 3 and 7 content categories. Now, personally, I've got 7, but if I was, say, a health coach, I might only have 3. And 3 of those content categories might be something like nutrition, movement, and mindset. And so, in those three content categories, you would then list down as many of the topics that relate to that category. So, for example, let's say I was a health coach and we were talking about movement as a category. The topics that would be listed under there would be something like maybe I talk about yoga and stretching and swimming and Pilates, for example. So, what we're going to do is focus on the topic of yoga. So, if I was a health coach and I had one of my content categories as movement and a topic was yoga, let's look at how we can take the topic of yoga and let's look at how we can then create a video, 8 different ways to tell that story. Number one, the mistake. So it could be if you're struggling to work out, and think you need to spend a whole hour, instead do this 20-minute yoga session to keep you fit. Okay, so tips might be, here are 3 yoga moves to help tight shoulders if you've been working on a computer all day. Tutorial might look like, here's a 20-minute morning yoga session to start your day off. A system might be, here's how I do yoga into my daily routine. A storytelling approach might be you giving the example of, say, Susan, who might have not been flexible and was struggling to exercise, and you gave her a yoga plan, and this is the transformation that happened within 4 weeks. That's a storytelling success approach. Okay, what about B-roll ideas that we could use? So behind the scenes could be you just setting up a tripod in the corner while you're teaching a yoga class, for example. What about a fun and entertaining approach? I saw this online in a video, actually. It was a lady actually doing her yoga session, and she was on her mat doing downward dog, and her border collie was on the mat next to her doing downward dog in the yoga session as well. And it was funny. Like, I've got a border collie. I could relate. Inspirational. Okay, think about doing yoga in a yoga retreat on some tropical location. I mean, I want to be there. So, what about if I was a winery and we're talking about champagne as a topic? So, mistakes could be, stop putting a teaspoon in your champagne bottle and instead use a stopper if you don't want the bubbles to go flat. Number 2 in tips could be, when serving your champagne before your guests arrive, pop your champagne into an ice bucket with a little bit of water to help chill it down that little bit more. Tutorial might be, here's how to correctly open a champagne bottle without poking out someone's eye. Number system. So the next one is a system. Here's how I prepare for an event when I am serving champagne on arrival. So you could go through, your routine of how you do that. Storytelling might be, here's how we helped Susan work out how many bottles of champagne she needed to cater for the event of 100. All right, what about some B-roll content? All right, so behind the scenes might be getting some grapes picked and showing it getting, made, showing the wine getting made. So what about entertaining? What about opening a bottle and having it go everywhere because it's been shook up? Number 8, inspirational. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is, sipping, a glass of champagne on a boat out somewhere. All right. So, what about if I was a real estate agent and the topic was open house? Here are the 8 approaches that I would take to tell that story. So, mistakes could be, stop making cookies for your home inspection. Instead, do this. Tips could be, here's 3 things you need to get rid of before an open home inspection. Tutorial could be, here's how to prepare your home for an open house. System, here's how I get ready for an open home. So you're stepping people through that routine that you do when you prepare an open house inspection. Storytelling. It could be, Susan wasn't getting offers on a house. Here's what we did to increase the attendance of our open homes and the results that she got. B-roll ideas, again, set up your camera of you walking up and putting out the open house inspection sign. Entertaining could be you madly putting the final touches on something as you're, and I've done this myself when I've had an open house inspection, people coming through the front door to inspect the home as you're on your hands and knees, mopping the floor as you're on your way out the back door. Inspirational, well, selling your home of course, putting the big sticker on sold sticker on the sign at the front. As you can see, when you use these different approaches to tell your story of one topic, you'll never run out of ideas again. Now, I've created a cheat sheet listing down all the different approaches that I've outlined today. And if you'd like a copy of that, I'll put the details in the show notes. Now, if this episode was helpful, please share it with somebody that might be struggling with content ideas. And until the next episode, I'm Deb Szabo, and thank you so much for listening.